What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Grossarth. We're going to do today Module 5, Lesson 13. Alright, we're going to skip Lesson 12 because it involves some tools that we're not going to have readily available in our homes, maybe only in school. So we're going to skip that one. There's really not much new content in that lesson anyway, so we are going to go and do this. Now, if you were on the Zoom chat the other day with Mr. Ross, he was doing this, so he got you guys a head start on this. So kudos to you if you were on the Zoom chat. But today we're going to dive right into this. So what we're really going to be doing is that we're going to be finding the area of rectangles with mixed numbers and fractions using an area model. Doesn't that make sense? They call it an area model to find the area, right? So this is like your best solution to try and find the area, especially when you have mixed numbers or fractions, because they're not always so easy to multiply, at least using mental math. I know I can't do it, so I like to use an area model. So I have 3 steps for you. The first step we're going to do is we're going to decompose the mixed numbers into whole numbers and fractions. I'm going to show you how to do that, super simple. Then we're going to multiply the partial products, again super simple, and then we're going to add the numbers inside the model. Super simple. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here. So why don't we do this? We're going to take each mixed number and we're going to break it down. We're going to decompose it. So this one becomes, instead of 3 3/4, it becomes 3 wholes and 3/4. Okay? So I'm going to write them on the outside of the rectangle. And 1 1/3 becomes 1 whole and 1/3. Okay? So now what we're going to do is that we're going to multiply the numbers that go in the boxes. So that, like, for example, this box right here is going to be 3 multiplied by 1. So 3 times 1 mental math is 3. And then 3 times 1/3 is 3/3, but mental math, I could take that a step further. 3 times 1/3 is 3/3. And what is 3/3? You got it. 1 whole. Okay, now I'm going to do 3/4 times 1, which is going to stay 3/4. And then I'm going to do 3/4 times 1/3. This is probably the trickiest part about it, but it's not even really that tricky. Is that you have 3 times 1 is 3. That's the numerator. The denominator is going to be 4 times 3, which is 12. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up all of the numbers in here. So 3 plus 1 is 4, and then it becomes plus 3/4. Then it's plus 3/12. Now I have to find common denominators here because I can't just add up these. Right? I got to find the common denominator, which is 12. So 3/4 becomes 9/12. And 3/12, and then 4. So what's 9 plus 3 mental math? 12. So then I have 4 plus 12/12, which is going to equal 4 plus 1, which is 5. So the area of this is 5 units squared. And I picked units squared because it doesn't specify whether or not these are inches, feet, yards, what is it? So if it doesn't specify, we say units. Okay? That was pretty simple. So let's go with one that kind of throws a little curveball at you, but not so much. In this one, we have 11/3 and 11/3. We have to find the area of this rectangle. Or this is a square because you have all sides are equal. So how do we do that? Because 11/3 isn't a mixed number. We're going to make it a mixed number. So 11/3 is going to be 3 2/3 because 3 goes into 11, 3, 6, 9, 12 is too much. So 3 wholes, and then 2/3 left over. And it's going to be the same thing here. So I have 3 wholes and 2/3 left over. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2/3 is 6/3. Can we use mental math to find 6/3? 3 goes into 2. 3 goes into 6 twice. So we have 2. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. This is the same answer. And then 2/3 times 2/3 is going to be 4/9. Because 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. So let's go ahead and add up all the partial products. Start with the whole numbers. So 9 plus 2 is 11, plus 2 is 13. And you have 4/9 left over. And then we're going to say units squared. Pretty simple. I mean, this one looked harder than it was. Once you took this that step further and just made this a mixed number, it became super easy. So our answer was 13 4/9 units squared. Okay? Let's go on to the next one. So the next one I have a little word problem for us, and then I'll leave you guys to do your problems and homework. So this is a word problem. Let's get right to it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what you have to do. There's some steps involved. That's the only tricky part. I wouldn't call this a doozy. I know you guys always ask me, is this problem a doozy? It's not yet a doozy, but there's some things we have to pay attention to. We have to be careful. All right. An 8-inch by 10-inch picture is resting on a mat. That's the picture. It's resting on a mat, okay? 3/4 inch of the mat shows around the entire edge of the picture. So all of this is 3/4. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the area of the mat not covered by the picture. So we know that area, okay, we know 8-inch by 10-inch. By means to multiply. 3/4 of the mat shows around the entire edge. That's this. Find the area of the mat not covered by the picture. Well, all of this in the outside little ring here is not covered. We have to find the area of that. So essentially what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find the area of this entire big square, the whole thing, find the area of the smaller square, then subtract the two, because we have to find just this part. Okay, and the best way to do that is you have to subtract. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have a 10 inches times 8 inches. Very simple. The area of this, the smaller one, I'm going to put smaller. Is mental math. We figured that out is 80 inches squared. And then we're going to have to subtract the bigger one. So now the bigger one doesn't really give us the answer, except for it gives us a hint. It says that each of this from here to here is 3/4, and from here to here is 3/4. So what is 3/4 plus 3/4? Okay, because I just want to know this part right now, these two. So what's 3/4 plus 3/4? It's going to be 6/4. Okay, so I know that the outside is 6/4, but then I still have this 8. So then I essentially have 8 and 6/4. So from here to here is going to be 8 and 6/4. But what is 6/4? It's 1 and 2/4, or 1 1/2. So it's really 9 and 1/2. I'm going to do the same thing here. This also part is 3/4. So it's 3/4 and 3/4 is 6/4. And then I have 10. So if we know that 6/4 is 1 1/2, so 10 plus 1 1/2 is 11 1/2 inches. Right? We want to label it. So now what I'm going to do is I need to find the area of this large one, and I have the tools to do it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve it by making an area model. So watch what I do. I'm going to create another separate square that I can draw on, and I'm going to decompose the numbers. I'm going to follow step 1, decompose the numbers. 11, 1/2, and then I have 9 and 1/2. Okay, step 2, I'm going to multiply all the numbers now. So 11 times 9 is 99. 11 times 1/2 is 11 halves, but we can take that a step further using mental math. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 12 is too much, so it's 5 and 1/2. 1/2 times 9 is 9/2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 4, and 1/2 left over. 1/2 times 1/2 is going to be 1/4. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up all of these. Now, if you're really crafty, you can add up 1, 2, and 3. Those 3 boxes, mental math, because if you know that 1/2 and 1/2 is 1, you have 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 4 is 10, plus 99 is 109. Okay, so I have 109. Oh, and then I have 1/4 left over. So 109 and 1/4. But I'm not done. You see, that's the larger. So we have larger is 109 and 1/4 inches squared. So in order to find just this part, I have to subtract. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract the larger, take away 80, and I don't usually like to write the fractions on top of each other, but I can here because 80 doesn't have a fraction here, so the fraction just comes right down because I'm not taking away anything from the fraction. But 9 minus 0 is 9, and 10 minus 8 is 2. So the area of this right here is 29 and 1/4 inches squared, and I'm going to circle that, which many of you do not do in your homework and problem set. So make sure you circle your answer, and that's my answer. Okay, was that so much a doozy? I would say half a doozy. 1/2 a doozy. Okay, not a complete doozy, all right? All right, so listen, I'm going to post chart, videos, problem set homework. You know the drill. I'll catch you on the flippy dippy.